Turn on the potentiometer, also called the microvoltage detector, by turning the small thumb switch on the side. Launch the Axon Waveform software by clicking its icon on the desktop. It will open to the data collecting window where the events are recorded. If this is the first time a patient has been tested, click Add Patient. Enter the first and last name in the fields provided. Then click OK. This is the empty graph screen ready for collecting data. The application protocol field has been filled. The graph scale is set to 1000. And the arrow now rests over the pause button, which has been pressed and now reads Continue. If you are retesting a patient, you can select the name from the list of previously saved patients. When the foot pedal is connected and you are ready to perform a test, click the Start Collecting Data button. Even though the blue line is moving, no data will be recorded or saved without clicking Start Collecting Data. With the foot switch ready to go, you can click on Start Collecting Data. Be aware that once this button is pressed, the blue line will start moving and collecting data immediately. So be prepared to step on the foot switch and pause the line right away. Click Start Collecting Data and step on the switch to pause. Notice that the blue line has stopped and a marker has been placed on the screen in time when you press the foot switch. The Start Collecting Data button now reads Stop. Be sure it reads Stop Collecting Data as you perform the test. The Continue button will alternate between Pause and Continue each time the foot switch is pressed, leaving your hands free to hold the probe and turn the dial as you perform the test. The Waveform software is now ready to record events during the exam on a patient. You are at the end of testing the first site, where a patient is feeling the stimulus at 24. The dial is still at 10. This time, turn the dial up, and as the dial reaches about 4 points below, step on the foot switch to continue collecting data. When the patient says Now, hit the foot pedal again to pause, since the nerve has already fired. The graph has captured the activity for that nerve between the two markers. On the exam sheet, write down the dial number 24, which caused it to fire, and the beginning and end of the event using the scale below, which is about 1 and 3.5. Once again, where the patient is feeling it at 34, step on the pedal to continue when the dial is at about 30. When the patient says Now, hit the pedal again. Write the dial number 34 and the marker numbers 3.5 and 6 on the exam sheet. Continue with the other sites. Once again, where the patient is feeling it at 36, step on the pedal to continue when the dial is at about 32. When the patient says Now, hit the pedal again. Write down the numbers. As you proceed, the page will fill and continue on another page. However, there is a limit of only 20 markers total. So a cervical exam of 18 nerves will fit in one document just fine. So will a lumbar test of 14 nerves. But if you use this for an upper extremity exam of 24 sites, you will have to stop sometime before 20, exit the software back to the desktop icon, open up a new file with the patient's name, and continue with those last few sites in a new document. When you have finished testing all the sites, click Stop Collecting Data. A dialog box will appear for saving the session. The arrow will already be positioned over the Yes button, so click it. Now you have saved the session with the patient's name, date, and time of the test for recalling at a later time. To recall the session, click Exit to the main menu. On the main menu page, click Reports. This takes you to the Reports page. The current patient is already selected, or select the patient name from the drop-down menu. One or more sessions for the patient will appear in the window below. Before generating the report, you can edit the report heading data by clicking the Create Edit button below. When the date and time for that patient is selected, the Reports button will become active. Click Reports to generate the report for that session. The graph will display all the events recorded for that session. To print this report, click the Print icon in the upper left-hand corner. To exit, click the red X in the upper right-hand corner. If you want to start again with a new patient, or continue beyond the 20 markers allowed during a test, click Exit and close all open windows, and start again by clicking the Axon Waveform application icon on the desktop. When you clicked OK, you noticed a series of automated tasks occurring to the left of the screen. The application protocol field has been filled. The graph scale is set to 1000 from the default scale of 100. And the arrow now rests over the pause button, which has been pressed and now reads Continue. If you should ever find that these automated tasks do not occur other than the patient's name appearing in its field, you can manually select the protocol. There is only one to select. Once selected, you will notice the blue line starts immediately. The graph scale is set to the default 100, not 1000. So go to the bottom of the graph and click the red arrow to change the scale to 1000. Then click Pause to stop the blue line. Now the software is set up properly. The existing blue line will be erased once clicking the button Start Collecting Data. If you become familiar performing this manual setup, you may decide to use this shortcut. Rather than clicking Exit on the main menu, closing all windows and starting over by clicking the Axon Waveform icon on the desktop, you can click the Start Here button, which will take you back to the data collecting page. But you must select the protocol, change the scale, and pause the blue line manually. When you click Start Collecting Data, but the blue line does not begin drawing on the graph, you may have a communication port error. Click Stop Collecting Data. Click the No button in the Saving Sessions window, then click Exit to Main Menu. In the lower left corner of the main menu, click the Utilities button. The Utilities window will appear with a series of COM port radio buttons. On the Windows toolbar at the bottom of the screen, click on Check COM port. Click on Show Device Manager. The Device Manager window will open. Slide it to the side of the Utilities window. Look for the icon called Ports COM and LPT. Expand the folder and look for the port called MR10 USB Serial Port. Note that it is COM4. Compare that with the radio button in the Utilities window. Here it reads COM3. It should match the Device Manager, so click the COM4 button. Then click OK and close the Device Manager windows. Now you can return to the data collecting window. If this does not solve the problem, or you see an alert window reading COM port error, close all windows, exit all applications, and shut down the computer. Check that the cables are connected and the potentiometer, which is also called the microvoltage detector, is turned on. Restart the computer and relaunch the Axon Waveform icon from the desktop.